Okay, this is part two of my discussion about Islam. This deals with the expansion of Islam and the different two dynasties that we need to know about. So, in our last lecture, Muhammad had died, and there really wasn't a successor to him because he was the last prophet. But the Muslims elect Abu Bakr, Bakr, to serve as a caliph. And a caliph is kind of a head of state, chief justice, religious leader, military commander, all wrapped up into one. And so under him, you have a dramatic increase in the expansion of Islam. Okay, but that doesn't necessarily solve the problem, because you have different people divided by who should be the next leader or ruler of this growing Islamic society and state. And so you have two groups. You've got the Shia and the Sunni. Okay, and the Sunni sect originally supported Ali as a descendant, as descendants of the Caliph. Okay, the Sunnis, on the other hand, did not. So you have two different factions going on within the Islamic religion, kind of like you have the Christian Orthodox Church and the Greek Orthodox Church, or between Catholicism, you have the split between Catholicism and what would form into Protestant group of Christianity. Well, you kind of have the same type of split. And so this is obviously going to affect the Islamic faith. So you have different beliefs, holy days, leaders, different religious sites, who's important, who's not. Okay, and this problem still continues to this day. Okay, the first dynasty that we need to know about is the Umayyad dynasty. It's Umayyyad, and they're from 661 to 750. And they, to a certain degree, solved the Sunni Shiite problem for a while. Okay, but it doesn't last very long. Okay, they moved the capital city to Damascus, which is currently in present-day Syria, and they kind of rule Dar al-Salam, okay, kind of as a Arabian military aristocracy for a while. And their policy toward conquered people is this: they levied the head tax. It's jazya, okay, on those who do not convert to Islam. So, and even the non-Arab converts were discriminated against. So, you have discrimination against other religions, although I don't necessarily think at this time you have, the mass killing of Christians and Jews, but you do have discrimination among non-Arabs. So you could be a Muslim but from a different country and you would still be discriminated against, basically. All right, and this dynasty started to decline due to discontent of conquered and resistance to of the Shia part of the faith. All right, then you have the Abbasid dynasty, and they're a descendant from Muhammad's uncle. And they allied themselves with the Shias and the non-Arab Muslims. So obviously, the ones that were prosecuted in the first dynasty, okay, rise up against that dynasty, and of course, a new dynasty is formed. And it's between 750 and 1250 CE. And they showed no special favor to an Arab military aristocracy. They are no longer so much in the conquering business, but their empire is still growing. And they kind of look towards the old Persian way of doing things when it comes to building up a state. Okay, and they go from Damascus in Syria, and they kind of move the capital to Baghdad, which is in present day Iran. All right, and they again appoint governors to rule provinces, and they have the ulama, or people with religious knowledge, and the qadis, or judges, who rule locally. And so they kind of look to the old Persian Empire style of ruling, primarily because that's where their empire is located. All right. Let's see. Things that you should know about them or their decline is that they struggle for succession between this this really important person within their empire. His name is Harun Rashid, from 786 to 809, and he's kind of the high point of their dynasty, the kind of the ruler at the high point. And so he has a lot of sons, and these sons basically turn this empire, this dynasty, into a civil war, where they obviously can't agree who should be the ruler, and so they're kind of backstabbing one another, killing each other off, and it just leads to a bunch of civil war and chaos. And because of that power vacuum, the governors once again kind of rise up and form their own small little armies, okay, and they kind of control different parts of the empire. You also have popular uprisings and peasant rebellions against this empire because they're obviously mistreating them. And so by 945, the Persian nobles that for the most part have converted to Islam take control of Baghdad, and later on you're going to have another group called the Turks come in and control this big huge empire. And when we talked about them kind of in the Byzantine Empire, we talked about them, and that'll eventually turn into the Ottoman Turks, and they're going to, of course, look to control Constantinople. So this is Islam Part 2. Okay, Islam Part 3 is going to be about kind of the day-to-day operations of the Islamic world, their economy, their trade, their social structure, how do they go about expanding this big huge empire of theirs. And we're going to talk quite a bit about women's role in their society, and we'll talk about how far out their empire got, because it's going to be from basically the Middle East to Northern Africa and all up into Spain, and they're going to be in Spain for quite some time, and that will trigger some points that you guys have already learned about in talking about the early Middle Ages and the late and Middle Ages. So again, this is Part 2.